Standing by a cornfield that's just about to be harvested, and when we think about looking at these plants, some are completely dead, Brian, some are still green. What's the difference?
Well, we wanted to talk a little about plant health in corn. There are so many different factors that go into this, but let's start here. Fertility is number one. It probably always is going to be. We've got to have the right amounts of fertility out there, and we've got to have the right balance in the soil. So that's why a little earlier we were talking about magnesium. That's just one of the factors. Everybody likes to focus on N, P, and K, but you can't forget about magnesium and sulfur and the micronutrients. There are just so many things. What we encourage you to do is do a good job this fall with soil sampling, and then over the course of the winter, if you want, we can even look at some of your soil tests. We do that for farmers all over the country, just really getting into how you read that soil test, how you make adjustments on your farm. We have a couple of soils classes coming up this winter that we're doing, just free Ag PhD soil classes. So there are a whole bunch of things when it comes to fertility, but that's just one portion of this plant health issue.
Well, it's no different, Brian, than you and me. If we ate junk food all day, chances are our health would be poor. And if we eat good food, you just feel better. And it's the same way for your plants. You have to have the right nutrients out there, you have to have them available, and you have to have them at the right timing for that plant. Now, the other thing, once you do that all correctly, you have to look at your plant. Once it's out of the ground, we have to fight disease and insects all throughout the year. As soon as we have bugs feeding on our plants, they leave open wounds, and that's a spot where disease can get in. They also make our plants just overall weaker and less productive. So it's important to get those bugs under control. And then, of course, disease. I don't know if anything's gotten more press over the last few years as kind of a silver bullet as using a fungicide out in crop production.
Yeah, but the thing is, with some of these companies, like let's take BASF for example, they'll talk to you about Headline or Preax or one of their different fungicides they've got. And yes, controlling disease is a portion of it. But in addition to that, they talk to you about plant health, that there are additional things that are going on in the plant after you've used one of these fungicides. Now, there are different ways to look at this. Whether you believe the plant health thing or not doesn't make any difference. All we care about is, do we have better yield at the end of the year? Do we have better standability at the end of the year? That's what it's really all about. Even if you don't have the yield gain, if you do have better standability, maybe that's going to make a difference for you because you can combine faster. So those are the things we're looking at. But what is the plant health? What's their message exactly if it's not disease control?
Well, when you think about that plant health message, they talk a lot about blocking ethylene production, and that's something that's big in the plant. They also talk about maybe some growth hormones that are being impacted at different levels inside the plant, are being triggered. And you know, I don't really care about all that stuff. It really doesn't matter to me. All I know is when I use these products on my crops, they stay greener and healthier longer into the season, and I'm getting higher yields. To me, when I see a plant that stays greener longer, that just says, hey, this is a healthy plant to me. It's not prematurely dying like we had seen for years in corn production.
Well, that's great, except if you're in the northern part of the country and winter's coming and you need to harvest and your plant is still green.
You know, that's just one of those things that you're gonna have to look at. I'm looking at more yield. That's what I want on my farm.
I want that too, but we also have to be able to get that out of the field. So here's typically what I recommend to people. And again, it's not just spraying the fungicide is gonna give you greener stems in the fall. It's all these other things. If you're doing a better job of farming, controlling your weeds, having great fertility, you have less premature death. So you're going to have more green stems. All it means is you need to back off your maturities a little bit. Instead of planting a 95-day corn, maybe you need to plant a 92-day corn, something like that. Just some slight adjustments, that could make the difference, and you still end up with more yield. Because all I know is the better you manage that crop, typically the more money you're going to make at the end of the year.
Well, you certainly aren't going to make any money if you don't get our Weed of the Week under control. We'll show you how to stop this tough weed coming up next.